Welcome.
Pew 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 pew.
That's how the sound effect for Star Wars was made. So you're in the market for an ND filter. An ND filter is a neutral density filter. Think of it as a sunglass for your lens. You pull out sunglasses when it's too bright outside and it cuts the light down to a point where you can capture the same colors. It essentially helps preserve colors and shadows and saves you from not increasing your shutter speed to compensate for that, which may create some foreground darkness because you're compensating for the light in the background.
You put it on your camera and it makes everything look pretty. Simple.
Using an ND filter will help preserve your f-stop, which creates the blurry backgrounds in your photos, which everyone loves. So instead of increasing your aperture without the ND filter and getting the whole background in focus, you can now apply the ND filter, adjust it to the stop, and keep the blurry backgrounds in your photos and make them look
Clink. Alright, so haven't you guys ever just been like wearing sunglasses and then you think life just looks better in them? Like everything looks more colorful, everything just looks all around better? That's essentially what an ND filter does. You're able to take a picture of what you're seeing when you're wearing your sunglasses, but on a nice little camera.
So when you're shooting with an ND filter, you're essentially cutting the light that's coming into your lens, which is getting picked up by your sensor. What an ND filter helps with is that when you're shooting a subject in bright light and the background is the sky or where the light source is, you essentially don't have to higher your shutter speed or adjust your aperture. Hiring your shutter speed can lead to darkness in the foreground, which may include your subject, and hiring your aperture makes the background sharper, and so now you can properly light your subject and keep the blurry background that everyone loves.
This takes pure focus. You know what you do? It's a bear. We didn't get scared from a squirrel. We didn't get big ass squirrel. Alright, so there's pretty much different size variable ND filters. The way you find out what size you need is the little number at the bottom of your lens. So I have a 77mm lens. So I need a 77mm ND filter. Pretty much what the 77 is the thread size of the filter. So that way, you want to make sure you have the correct one so it slides on perfectly.
When shooting in bright light, if you don't have an ND filter, your ISO can only go down to 100, but if your image is still overexposed and you're shooting video, you don't want to mess with your frame rate, and you might want to maintain that aperture with the blurry background. So to perfectly expose your image, you would adjust the ND filter instead of any of those settings, which would maintain your image and create the shadows and the depth of field and make it look buttery goodness.
Alright, you beautiful people, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If we provided any value to you, let us know. If you get an ND filter, if you want the one that we use in this video, highly recommended, and this video is not sponsored. Polaroid Probe, the Peter McKinnon version, ND filter 225, we will link it down below. And that's all we have for this video. So, we'll see you next week, and make sure to subscribe. Love you all, stay safe, and remember, it's always a vibe.
It's a vibe.
Nature's first green is gold, its hardest hue to hold, its early leaves of flower, but only so narrow. Leaf subsides to leaf, so eat instinct to grief. Dawn goes down today, nothing gold can say. Proper thought.